The Long Shot. It is a podcast. I am your host. My name is Sean Conroy. With me today on the show is your other host, Amber Kenny.
Hello.
It is bright and early Sunday morning, and we're recording at a very different time than usual. I'm sure we've recorded on Sunday mornings before, but it's been a long time. I think that's how we
started.
I think you're right. Yeah.
It was either Sunday mornings or Saturday mornings.
Mm-hmm. It feels kind of wild to be doing it on a Sunday morning. It's like, this is church, man. This is our church.
Right. I think that we have opposite relationships to mornings too. I'm like, let's do this. Usually when we record in the evening, I'm like, okay, hopefully I have enough gas to make it through this.
Right. And meanwhile, I am like, I have not even had my first line of cocaine yet. So
wow.
Still, still mostly in bed spiritually.
Wow. But not physically.
No.
Unless this is an optical illusion, which would be impressive.
Right. Or unless I'm sitting on my bed right now.
Right. But you'd have to have moved.
Room.
Yeah. Feels like more effort than just getting out of bed.
So yeah, Sunday morning, man. I feel like I don't know, Sunday is a sacred time, right? It's a spiritual time. Yeah.
Rest.
I used to be an altar boy. I was an altar boy. Going to church and carrying the giant crucifix around and making a big fuss about it.
Making a big fuss about it? Is that part of the job description? You're like, hey, everybody, look at this!
You got to be a hype man for Jesus,
Do you watch The Righteous Gemstones?
I do, but I have not watched this season yet. I haven't started. What is it, season 2?
I think
or season 3?
I think it is season 2.
Season 2. I haven't seen
there's a plot line about carrying a giant crucifix.
Oh, really?
But it's legitimately
gigantic. Yeah. The one I carried was kind of a normal size. I mean, it was probably 6 feet tall.
That's pretty big.
If you hold it like this, that means it's going up,
above.
And it would always, we'd come out of the, I guess it's, what is it called? The sacristy, where the backstage area where the priests do their
you could have said any word and I would have been like, okay.
And they so it's like the dressing room basically, where
the green room,
yeah,
where they're having their Diet Cokes and
their crudité. And we would come out of there, and invariably it would just, the arch in the doorway into the church was not tall enough for me to get through, and it'd be like clunk. So they were, I'm sure, never thrilled with me. But anyway, here,
secret object of any kind.
I mean, what are you going to do? The thing is, you can't do the things you can't do. How
old were you?
10, maybe.
Yeah, that's 11. Little. You're a little baby.
I was not. It just reminded me, while we were talking about that, of my grandfather's funeral.
Oh, wow.
Which I was not little. I think I was in my early 30s when he died. There was the priest who told the mass, the priest who celebrated the funeral mass, was a friend of my parents. Very, very nice elderly priest. Because of course, by the time my grandfather died, none of the priests that he had ever. I think when Catholics are friends with priests, the priests tend to be older, a decade or two older. So by the time my grandfather died, none of the priests that he was friends with were still around. So it was a friend of my parents that celebrated his funeral mass. My grandfather had been in the Navy in World War II, and so there was a flag involved. There was there were going to, there was a flag over. Yeah, there was a flag over his coffin when they brought it into the church. I was about to say stadium. I don't know why.
He was a very popular man.
The jets fly over. But he this is jets.
And when the blimp came by,
right.
Not a dry eye to me.
Well, they were all furious when Eminem kneeled, even though it was just genuflecting. But so the flag was over the coffin when they bring the coffin in, and then so before the actual funeral, we had to go like, this is what you guys are going to do. Like, I can't even remember. I'm sure I did a reading or something, and okay, we're going to do. It was like a rehearsal, basically.
Sure.
It really is. The Catholic Church really is fucking show business, But this elderly priest was like, okay, you guys, myself and my brothers, he was like, you guys are going to fold the flag. This is how you do it. You got to do it exactly like this. This is how you, and we were like, okay. And, it is a very specific traditional way that you're supposed to fold the flag.
Right. Into like a triangle, right?
Yeah. So there's 5 of us. And at the mass, we didn't get it right. We did not get the folding of the flag correct.
Well, also
we didn't really run through it a bunch of times. We didn't. He showed us. He was like, "This is, you just do it like this." And
I would argue like it's an emotional day. You're not at your like top capacity.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of people watching. It was actually a huge thing because there were a lot of like. I mean, he was a politician, so there was like. It's not funny, but there was like a 32 member honor guard of motorcycle police escorting his. And so at the funeral home, they all came up and saluted his coffin. Like, it was just a big thing. Anyway, we screwed up folding the flag, and the priest turned around and he was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I don't know. I guess I just thought he was kidding. Like, I thought it was. And so I just went, yeah, I guess we screwed that up. And he like fucking lost his mind. I was like, oh, he is really angry that we screwed up the folding of this flag.
But I feel like typically, maybe I'm wrong about this, but it's like you get military people who are trained at folding the flag to do that ceremony. Like it is so
maybe the Navy was on vacation that day. I don't know what was going on.
What I'm talking like it's not a lay person situation.
It was putting us in a situation where we were destined to fail.
Right. Because it's like supposed to be very like specific, the movement.
But also like maybe this is disrespectful to the country and the flag and my grandfather and the church.
Get it. Like, who cares?
But I'm like, who cares? Like, who gives a shit? This is sad. And it's not about the folding of the flag ceremony.
Right.
Like, to be so angry about that, like that it just has always stuck with me. Like,
what did he say in his anger? Like, or you just remember.
Like, yeah, like he was facing away from the congregation, and his face, like he was just enraged at what we had just done. And I just
was it like in a ball? Like,
we ripped it in half by accident.
You said fire.
Yeah. No, it just seemed like. It seemed so disproportionate of a reaction. Like, if he had gone like, guys, come on, that would have been fine, But it was like, I pictured him after that he was going to go back to the green room, leave the green room, go to his dressing room.
Oh my God.
Get a phone, like somebody would bring a phone in on a
silver tray,
cloche, like those things where you pull off. Yeah. And he would be like, "Yes, operator, get me the Pope."
And the
hello, Your Majesty, I want them excommunicated. Like we would never be allowed in a church again. It was back in the days when you could just connect through an operator. Just go like, yes, operator. The Vatican 114. So anyway, that was a long time ago. Mm. And here we are, Sunday morning. Sunday mornings, man. Sunday morning coming down.
We're back.
Yeah. Back in the present. So we always like to start the show with a segment we call Checking In. Amber, checking in, what's going on with you?
Yeah, a ton, actually, which never happens. But yesterday, which was a Saturday, if that wasn't established.
Today's Sunday.
With the Sunday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had to work, and I don't typically work on Saturdays. It's usually the Monday through Friday situation. Mm-hmm. But there was a big Gabby's Dollhouse, which is one of our properties, our big preschool property, like dance party at City Walk. And I had to go work it and take.
When you say property, you're talking about like a
television
TV show.
Yeah.
Okay. I really thought you were talking about property. Like you said, Gabby's Dollhouse. And it's one of our big properties. And I was like, is there an amusement park I'm not aware of? Like,
I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah. But it's a TV show.
Yeah.
And they have a dance party at City Walk every Friday. Saturday.
No. This was a one-off special event.
I mean, we'll see. We don't know. They could do it again next week.
I think that I've mentioned this before, but we have a thing where all year long we're celebrating the different characters' birthdays every month. That's when I was shitty to my coworker.
Right.
But it was Gabby herself's birthday this past week. So this was her birthday party.
Did she know that it was coming? Or was it a surprise?
She knew it was coming.
Okay.
She was a person in a suit.
Oh, she's not a real person.
She is. This is an interesting show that it's live action and cartoon, but she turns into a cartoon. And so only the cartoon version is there.
Only the cartoon version. I thought you were going to say only the person version was there. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So in real life, they chose to only have the cartoon version present.
Yeah.
I would have done it the other way. Yeah.
Well, it's easy to see her from far away.
I see.
Because she's a big mascot. And I think the real person doesn't live in California.
The truth comes out.
And I think she's like, I mean, this is a whole other thing, but I think she's like getting older. She's not like the little girl.
Oh, this is a show for kids, but it's not about a little kid.
It is about a little kid. That's what I'm saying.
But it's an elderly little kid.
No, I'm saying she's starting to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Time does that.
They do. All the kids grow up. That's what happens.
But anyway,
time marches on.
It was very surreal for a laundry list of reasons. One, I'm working on a Saturday. Two, I'm at City Walk. And for people who are not familiar with Los Angeles or City Walk, it is sort of like a fake city walk.
It's like a city, but you walk.
But it's right outside Universal Studios, and
there's no mass transit. I mean, in a way, it's the city of the future because you do walk everywhere.
Right. But it's like sort of chain restaurants and stores.
It's a mall, basically.
Right. It's a mall, but everything's kind of juiced up. Like the signs
it's a crazy place.
Bigger and louder. And
by the way, the last time we talked about City Walk was when I went to get my vaccination shot, and they were like, yeah, it's right this way. $70 million for parking, and then you can go in and get it for free.
Right. Yeah.
So it's that kind of place.
Yes. I got free parking because I was working, and I was very thankful.
Nice.
But yeah, I typically don't really leave the house much at all, except for like walking smudgy. Mm-hmm. So it was like going into the belly of the beast, like it wasn't just a lot of people, which it was, but it was like a lot of stimuli, like colors and sounds and screams and
textures. Any textures?
There were some textures. Mm-hmm. And I met my boss for the first time.
No.
Because he started working in the pandemic for DreamWorks.
Did either of you go, wow, you're shorter than I thought you would be?
He's been obsessed with how tall everyone is. So he was really excited to meet us.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was a huge success, a way bigger turnout than we even had estimated for. People had driven in from like Modesto and Barstow, and I'm like, that's insane. Like,
yeah.
Oh, but thank you. Mm-hmm. And it was hot. And
was it a lot of little kids?
Mm-hmm, a lot of little kids.
And what was the nature of the celebration? In other words, was it like, okay, now we're gonna everybody line up, we're gonna play Simon Says, or like that kind of shit?
There was like a sort of a master of ceremonies, and it was this woman who is a DJ on K Earth. Mm-hmm. So she was good at it. She knew
K Earth 101, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I know my FM stations.
And the TV show itself has a lot of songs and dancing. And so there was like a dance troupe of kids and a dance teacher who went on stage and taught everyone one of the dances from the show. And then so all the little kids were doing the dance. And then there were other just songs playing. And then Gabby would come out and we'd all sing happy birthday to her and present her with a cake. And there was a meditation segment. And that was insane because I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. It totally did. Like all of City Walk like got still at the same time. I was like, this is amazing. Like we could do full on mind control right now. But,
I feel like people have learned a lot of new things during the pandemic, you know?
But like seeing, 3-year-olds do it, it's pretty
That's what
impressive.
I mean. Like you got it. People are going crazy in their houses and they're like, you know what, sweetheart, we're going to do something called meditation. I know you don't speak yet, but this is what we're doing. You know?
But get in touch with your feelings. Great. Start them young. And it was sort of there was like an hour-long program like that where it cycled through different songs and meditations.
So people could leave and go back to Modesto and then come back. And
then it happened again 4 times. It was a 4-hour thing. And there was also a long line of people to like spin a wheel to get a prize and to take pictures with the Gabby. And then there was another place where you could get
the Gabby. I like how you call it the Gabby.
The Gabby. And another place to get a free donut. A Gabby still has free donuts. So there was like a lot going on.
I bet nobody played red light, green light.
I bet you're right.
That was the thing we did when I was a kid because they don't do that anymore because everybody's afraid they're going to get shot in the face, right? Ever since Squid Games came out.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. That's a game that no one will ever play again. That series ruined red light, green light forever.
And my whole job was to take pictures of cute kids or videos, but then get their whole family to sign legal documentation that says that it's okay that we use it on social media. And I will say, I did a pretty good job, not an amazing job, because I was like, oh, I'm shy. I'm not used to even being in public at all. And there'll be like a family having an organically, authentically lovely time. And it's like, tap, tap, tap. Can you sign these legal documents really quickly?
Yeah.
We're all wearing masks. Like, it's very loud. You probably can't even hear me. Right. And now the little kid isn't dancing and having fun. She's shy and like confused because she's talking to a stranger.
Did you have to do that on your own phone or did they give you some other instrument to?
I have a work phone. So I was using that because it has a better camera.
So you're one of those people that they go like, why does she have 2 phones?
well,
something's going on.
I wore jeans and I put both of my phones in the pocket and I was like, oh, it's like hard to walk, like
too much stuff.
And I got to see some other coworkers. Like I had a good time. I didn't know what I was getting myself into going to City Walk, but even just walking down City Walk after I parked, I was like, well, I'll go back. City Walk is not a place I would hang out pre-pandemic, really. Like
it's great. It's the best. I've been there many times. It's like
I would go if I was invited to a very specific function. I don't think we do anymore, but for a while there, as dream workers, we got free parking at City Walk. So it became like a regular thing where people would say like, oh, it's my birthday. Let's go to blah, blah, blah place at City Walk and grab a drink after work. And it was like, sure.
Does anybody ever go, all right, dream workers, listen up?
Yeah, all the time, constantly.
Interesting.
Do you know how often people say teamwork makes the dream work?
I can only imagine.
Way a lot.
Yeah.
Too much.
It's like that is a saying anyway, and it just fits so perfectly.
Mm-hmm. And also what was funny is most of the people I talked to when I was like, hey, can I take a picture of your kid? Also, that's just like such a creepy sentence. Like, I know that it's for a valid reason, but it's weird. All of it, I kept being like, I'm more shy than I thought I would be. I kept being like, maybe I should take a picture of this shadow. But I would say half the people I stopped to talk to, they're like, oh yeah, I work for DreamWorks. And I was like, oh, okay.
Can I pitch a thing to do at work for you, which is to go every once in a while, like if you're in a situation like that, just go, all right, dream workers, everybody spread out because remember, dispersal makes it universal.
Could you do one for Comcast?
Too much.
I always joke because there is that tall building right as you drive up to Universal Studios that it now says Comcast NBC Universal, and I keep joking that it's like soon it's going to wrap all the way around.
Nike, Comcast, Universal, American Airlines,
Campbell Soup.
Yeah. Oof. Corporations.
There's only 2 companies left.
Yeah.
But what was I? Oh, so it was good. I got to meet my boss, who I've never met before, his son, his parents, his wife. Like, I was like, wow, you have a supportive family. Like, I was thinking about it like, if my parents lived in Los Angeles, they still wouldn't come to City Walk.
Did you see my parents, by the way? They were there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they love Gabby.
But
they love the real Gabby, not the animated Gabby. So I'm sure they were disappointed.
They were seething like that priest. But yeah, they were a very supportive, loving family. The parents were there because it's too boring to get into. Well, I'll say it.
Nothing is too boring to get into on this show. Just FYI.
My boss's wife works on Saturdays, so he had to bring their 1.5-year-old. So he had his parents come so that he can work. Like it's almost impossible to work.
I don't quite understand how that came about, because it's like,
just stay home with the kid.
Or she's like, I have to work on Saturday. And he's like, I have to work on Saturday. And she's like, yeah, but you work with you can take, you just take the, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I think she consistently works on Saturdays, so he's used to having him on Saturday.
I called it first. I called Saturdays first.
And right. Because I was like, why doesn't the kid just stay with the grandparents somewhere else? But the wife showed up, the parents left. Like they did like a tag.
And it could be the 1.5-year-old just digs cartoon Gabby.
Well, yeah, he seemed to have a great time.
Or meditation.
Yeah. My boss was mad because his son was like, Gabby, like so excited. They waited in line to take a picture with her like everyone else. And as soon as it was time to take a picture, in all the pictures, he's like he was so happy and so excited, but there's no photographic evidence.
I'm sorry. Can I ask you to sign a release? I'm your boss.
And yeah, that was all really lovely. And I got to see people from my old team. Like they just showed up because they had kids, and it was nice. It was very overwhelming, very loud, a lot of people. So to that end, I left.
Guys, remember, the old team is the gold team.
Recently, one of my friends said, it was Whitney, Whitney, whatever.
I know Whitney.
She has a little boy who's just over a year old.
Mm-hmm.
And she she was like, I'm a little bit sad because somebody said that a daughter is a daughter for life. A son is a son until he has a wife. And I was like, well, yeah, but that's just not true. Like, just because it rhymes doesn't mean it's true. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like from 1950. Like,
yeah.
What are you talking about?
A daughter is a daughter until there's a slaughter. I don't want to get into like family murder, but it's true.
But I just love it. The idea that if it rhymes, like, it's got to be true.
Yeah.
So I left. And again, on a Saturday, I normally am home all day. I might go for a walk. I might clean the house, but so it felt novel that I was even away for 4 or 5 hours.
Like coronavirus.
Very similar. I might get it from that activity.
That's true.
I had to just kind of let go and let God. It is hilarious to be like, it's not safe enough for us to go into the office, but we will throw a party for preschool.
For children. Yeah. For unvaccinated children.
The CDC came out today with guidelines about Hey Gabby, the show from Universal Nabisco.
I mean, everyone was wearing masks and it was outside, but still, I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
But
nobody knows. We can't know. How could we know?
There's no way to know. Nobody knows. So then I drove home and it wasn't that, it was like 4:30. And I was talking to Jeff about what do we want to have for dinner? And he had the TV on in the background and Smudgy was playing with something, and him talking, the TV on and Smudgy playing, I was like, I need to go lie down in a quiet, dark room.
Too much for Saturday.
I'm clearly having a sensory overload meltdown. So I did that. I went into the bedroom and just closed my eyes, and I came back and I was a new person. But at first I was like, I don't know if I could handle anything like TV or conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was successful. I don't think that I personally was great at the job.
That's hard. I always think about that on TV shows where they just have to talk to regular people, because I'm like, there's people going around behind the people talking to them going, now that you've spoken, do you mind signing a release? And there's always everybody thinks they're
a legal genius.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're Clarence Darrow, so it's like,
oh yeah, I'd like to take a look at it before I sign anything. And is there compensation involved?
And it's going on our Instagram stories. There's nothing. But
I will take this corporation down.
Well, the other thing is I was just handed these legal releases, so I'm not an expert, and people would be like, do I sign here, or what about this part? I was like,
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, as long as there's writing on it.
I can barely fit both these phones in my jeans.
Well, and that was the other thing. My boss's boss was like, you two should stay together, and one is taking the picture and one is doing the legal release. And I think maybe we should have done that way, because I was like, okay, fumble, here's a pen, here's the notebook, and then now I could take the picture. But it was fun. And
he could also, to be fair, he could also have just been saying that so that would give him an opportunity later to criticize you by saying, you guys should have stuck together. Remember, teamwork makes the dream.
Right.
He was just setting himself up for something down the line.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's seeing all the little kids meditate, I was like, ooh, I want to get this, but I also don't want to disturb them meditating. So I was respectful. I don't know. So that all happened, and it was a big Saturday. Thank goodness it's a long weekend. I have Monday off because of President's Day, or else I would have truly felt cheated on the weekend. I still have 2 whole days.
And do you get overtime for that?
No.
God.
I'm salary. I'm not hourly.
Well, that still seems fucked up. You might want to talk to your union about that.
Ooh, here's the thing. Funny story. Don't have a union.
Jesus Christ.
For social media managers.
It's 2012. Or what year is it? It's like
almost.
Yeah. But everybody had a union at this point.
Yeah, so it was a big crazy day, and my boss's parents are very, very nice. And when they were leaving, they were like, I love you to the grandson, I love you to their son, my boss. And then they were like, love you to me. And I was like, okay.
So funny when you get stuck in those conversations. Like, I guess we got to do this.
It's like, I kept being like, right back at you. Like, I don't know you. You seem lovely. But they were like, Amber. They were really excited to meet me. I was like, my parents would not be able to name or pick out of a lineup any one of my coworkers.
Right.
And it's just funny.
Or it's possible they had never heard your name before, but they're just the kind of people who are like 100% on board no matter what, you know?
Well, my boss works at his parents' house. Like, he leaves his house and drives to his parents' house to have an office. So she's like, you've probably seen me walking back and forth in the background of Zoom.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't, Mrs. Dillbotter. Nope. By the way, the Universal, they did try to form a union there years ago. But Universal killed it. They came up with a good slogan. It was, don't join the union, it'll give you bunions, which didn't really.
Oh, they should have done something with Minion.
Isn't that the Minions?
I don't know.
They talk funny.
There are people who are unions at DreamWorks. I'm just
not one of them.
Yeah.
You're a scab.
Yes. But yeah, it was wild. It was wild to have worked with somebody for 6 months and be like, nice to meet you. We're in such a weird situation. Oh, and then there would be people in line that were like, Amber, and I'd be like, so good to see you. And my boss would be like, who was that? No idea. But like, I haven't left the house in 2 years. I'm gonna be polite. I don't know what's going on.
Weird times. Strange.
Very, very. But that is my checking in. How about you? How are you feeling? What's going on?
I feel fine. I thought today for checking in. Well,
you want to do that segment where I'm as bad as Trump or whatever?
I don't know what that is.
There is a segment where you would say, connect something Trump said.
Oh, you are as bad as Trump. Yeah. Right. Yes. Okay, welcome to a segment we call Amber is the equivalent of former President Donald Trump. No.
And Hitler.
Hitler.
On acid in space.
No, that was the thing where somebody was listening to our show and then they turned on the rise and fall of the Third Reich, where it was like the long shot was worse than listening to a whole audiobook about Hitler. But I'll just say two things. One is I went to Eagle Rock the other day because a friend of mine.
Love Eagle Rock.
Friend of mine is in town. And she has a kid who's about 8 years old. Very funny little kid. But he wanted to play this game that I had never seen before. So there was about 5 of us sitting around on this roof over there. And he wanted to play this game. And it was a game, it involved jelly beans. I guess it must come in the box of jelly beans, but it's like a huge variety of jelly beans, and you spin a spinner.
Jelly Belly?
I don't know what it's called. That sounds completely plausible that any game involving jelly beans would be called Jelly Belly.
Jelly Belly is a very famous brand of jelly beans that has a wide variety of flavors.
I would disagree with the idea that there is any very famous brand of jelly beans.
I would disagree with that disagreement. And I write it down. Jelly Belly is very famous. And
be that as it may, the way this game worked was you spin a spinner, and then you have to take, it lands on a color, and you have to take a jelly bean of that color, and the spinner tells you that it could be one of 2 flavors. And it's like, either it's blueberry or dog shit. And you have to take your chance of which one it is. And so you had to eat the jelly bean and go like, oh, that's delicious. Or, oh, that's definitely dog shit.
Uh-huh.
And everybody was like, great, let's play it.
But
and
how do you win? Like, I don't get it. It's just
you can only lose if you think about it.
Right.
Know?
It's just a way to eat jelly beans in a specific order.
And so this kid was like, let's play this game. And everybody was like, great, let's play. And they were all eating like and being like, oh, that's dirty dishwater. No, that's dead fish. And I was like, I'm not playing. No, absolutely not. Like I am not being involved in this. And I felt bad, but I was like, no, I have no interest in taking a chance that I'm going to eat a jelly bean that has been purposely flavored like snot
or banana. Ugh.
That actually came up. I was like, even a good one I would not like because I can't stand banana. And one of the people there was like, yeah, me neither. I hate it. It's disgusting. Tastes like chemicals. But what I really thought I would do is there's I found a few emails in our mailing bag thing. And then also some comments from various episodes of our show on YouTube. Not a lot. There's not a lot.
There was one. Maybe we should talk about it off air. But I was like, I don't even know what they're referring to.
Okay. I'm okay with talking about that off air, but
we'll see if it comes up.
Okay, so here's the first email in our mailbag. And by the way, it's entirely possible that I'll be reading stuff that we have definitely heard before because we don't
have an organizational system.
No, I mean, I looked up and I was like, what did we read before? And I looked and I tried to find and I found some, but I could be wrong. Okay, here's the first one. As a high school English teacher and big fan of the show, I got really excited yesterday when you started mentioning rhetorical appeals. I teach those every year to my sophomores. I did want to make a slight correction, though. Ethos actually refers to the credibility of the speaker. Pathos is emotion, and logos is logic. Unfortunately, I have to say that Duncan went 0 for 2, but that's what the next play mentality is all about. Anyway, keep up the great work. Your show brings me joy every week. Alex Goodman, Huntington Beach, California.
Was that to the other long shot?
That was to the other long shot. Yeah, that was to...
Okay, great.
That was to...
Because we could easily be talking about...
Duncan Robinson. Well, except we wouldn't fuck it up the way Duncan Robinson did. He clearly was trying to make himself sound smart, and he's just a basketball player. Anyway, here's another one from our good friend Sam. I found another long shot is the title of the email. There's boy band mogul pedo. Is it pedo or pedo? It's pedophile, but I think people say pedo. Scammer Lou Pearlman apparently made a movie starring all the boy and girl bands he repped after he was sued by Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. And I guess it was called The Long Shot. So the Long Shot name universe continues to expand. Here's the link if you want to watch an insanely bad movie. So there's a movie made by a pedophile called The Long Shot.
Well, and I just recently watched the Charlize Theron Long Shot again.
Right. Seth Rogen, right? Is that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they fall in love, which does seem like a long shot.
It's an appropriate name.
Mm-hmm. And she's like
the president.
Doesn't she start as the Secretary of State or something like that?
She's running for president.
Yeah. She's just like, I'm president, but on the down low, I'm with Seth Rogen. Let's get fucked up.
It's a cute movie.
This one is from Scott, who is very he's faithful about sending in emails. And it was one where we said, can you guys tell us what you're thankful for? So I would assume it had to do with
it's probably in November.
4th of July. I'm thankful for Tess and Barbara freeing Brittany and for Jeff having them on his podcast years ago, which is how I found out about Brittany's gram in the first place.
Amazing.
I can't imagine how it feels for Amber, who's actually friends with them, because I feel really special just for listening to their podcast from the beginning. Being on the journey with them through the whole thing was such a privilege. I'm also thankful for Jake McKelvey's music, which is used on a lot of episodes. Heart emoji. I agree. Jake, I love Jake's music, and we do play a lot of it. Or I shouldn't say we, because I have nothing to do with it, but Aaron plays a lot of it, which is great. So here are some comments from YouTube. I guess there's only 2 of them, really.
Okay.
The first one is from Protege5, which, I'm guessing, I don't know for a fact that is not a real name.
Yeah. But maybe.
It also sounds like it could be an all-female group from the 80s,
Totally. Or 90s or 2000s.
Yeah, but I like to be, no, you're right. Let's paint with a broad brush.
No, I'm just like picturing the making the band with Sean Puffy Combs. Like it feels very Protege 5.
Which was a whole show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Amber conveying my sentiment about patronizing Amazon eloquently while simultaneously not shaming herself for participating in capitalism was pretty based. I don't know what that means.
You understand some of it?
No, I couldn't follow it.
It's a compliment. I think.
Okay.
I think he's saying. I guess it's shitty for me to say, but I think he's saying,
by the way, it's not he, it's they because it's a girl group from the 80s, 90s.
Sorry. They are saying, I think based is I sound like such a grandma. It's like, I think they are saying the way that I don't believe in Amazon, but also am not shaming myself about capitalism.
You're still buying from Amazon, but you're not ashamed of that, but you're not supportive of the business model.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Based is good.
I think so. This is truly humiliating.
No, I mean, based is not a word that people just throw around. Like, it's not like 407 years ago, our forefathers were based.
Do you think people are throwing around the 407 years?
I do. I don't know if you pay attention, but yes. We'll get to that in a second, by the way. That's actually a great example because I have another thing here that we'll see. Okay, here's another comment. Lo Chapeau is so based. Just kidding. Love the Lo Chapeau so much. You should try to get Eddie and Jamie for a classic callback episode.
That would be fun.
From CJK. Well, Joe's not classic. Joe's New Coke,
Yeah.
But I think
New Coke didn't stick around.
That's what I'm saying.
We're almost at a year.
I
think his last episode with us was in April.
Yeah. But I think you should just tell people that what happened this week on Thursday.
Yes. So we normally record on Thursdays, and Sean wasn't feeling well, and he said, "Can we reschedule?" We had just settled that. We hashed that out. And,
this is why we're doing it on a Sunday morning.
Right. And I want to say about 10 minutes later, Jamie texted me and was like, "Hey, I actually have some availability. I'd love to join the show tonight. Can you give me the invite?" And I was just like, LOL. Like, of course we're not recording tonight.
We've done it for 97 weeks in a row, but tonight we're not. I wonder if he believed you. I wonder if he was like, "Oh, they just don't want me back."
No, he believed me.
So that'll happen at some point.
With him again.
Yeah, at least with Jamie. Yeah. Who knows about Eddie? We'll see. Okay, here's the last one, and this is related to what you just criticized me for.
Oh no. Wait, what did I criticize? I don't remember any criticism.
Well, you said, do you think people are just throwing around?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I was really sticking it to you.
You fucking zinged me. So this is actually not from anything related to our show. This is from, and I know I shouldn't do this, but there's always like comments on Reddit when Improv for Humans goes up. So I looked it up. There's an episode that just came out with me and Andy Daly and Matt Besser.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was a delight. And like, whatever you could say, Daly and Besser are just so funny and amazing, hilarious improvisers. So anyway, this person commented on that episode listing and said, I think Sean Conroy is hilarious, but most of his references are just completely foreign to me. No idea what kind of life this guy lived. It's like when Guy Fieri mentions he spent a decade in culinary school in France. So that was the comment. And it was that thing.
You know the Constitution, you know ship novels.
Yeah, what kind of life did this guy live? But it was like that thing of like, I don't know. It just made me it made me reflect. I'll leave it at that.
I would take it all as a compliment. I think
it is ultimately a compliment. Like at first I was like, oh man, but then I was like, yeah, like, because you know, for me, I feel like I have spent my life hoping that no one will realize I am as strange as I think I am. And this is somebody saying,
he's a
fucking weirdo. Yeah.
Well, I would also.
So it's just out there. It's just public. Like, even though I have been trying, I have not been succeeding.
Yeah. The mask is slipping.
Yes. Has slipped, was never there in the first place.
I would take out even the his opinion part of the comment.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue, and maybe you disagree and we'll never speak again, and it was fun while it lasted.
Click.
But like, you sort of pride yourself on deep cut references or like historical mentions that they're not like, you're not just like picking low hanging fruit of current pop culture. Like,
well, that's exactly. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, yeah, okay. So I don't make pop culture references. Sorry, you know.
But I think that's intentional, and I think he may have framed it as like, I don't understand it, but I think he's basically saying you're doing exactly what you're trying to do.
Right. And I would phrase it a little differently. I agree with you, but I also
on his notes.
No, on yours, that it's not something I pride myself on. It's just like
who you are.
Pop culture is boring to me. Like, I'm not interested in that stuff. The other stuff I find way more interesting, you know? So yeah, that's different from what a lot of people are going to do. And so, yeah, you're right. Initially I was like, oh man, but then I was like, fuck it. Like that doesn't feel bad to me ultimately.
No. Yeah.
You know? I marched to the beat of a different saxophonist. See, I'm not going in the same
where you should have sagged, or people might have expected you
but vice versa. Yeah. You know, it's like Jay-Z at the Super Bowl. Oh no, that is pop culture. You know? All right. Well, this feels like a good place to take a break. So why don't we do that? And then we can come back and we can do a segment on the show that we like to call Checking In.
No. Bye.
Be right back. We're back. You're listening to The Long Shot. It's a podcast with your hosts, Amber Kenny, Sean Conroy, and your guests, no one ever. Although who knows? Jamie Flam might be back soon. Eddie Pepitone, God only knows. Joe Wagner, New Coke, We'll see what happens. We always close the show with a segment we call Parting Shots. Maybe I'll go first today. I've talked a little bit recently about how I have been working on a couple of, let's call them properties. I have some properties I've been working on. And
it's industry lingo. You can understand.
And we're at the point where we are about to we're about to either land on the moon or miss it and have to circle around, come back to Earth and start over. You know what I mean? Like either it's going to work or it's not going to work. And we'll find out in the next month or two about those things.
You can't just orbit again.
You can't go around and try to land again. No, it just doesn't work that way. There's a window in NASA. They talk about a window and you have to velocity and
and
gravitational pull. And
it's always about like, you have to slingshot.
Yeah. We're about to slingshot ourselves into the lower atmosphere. And if it doesn't work, we're just going to slide right by and we'll have to come back around another year. And I was talking with one of the people I've been working with the other day, and we were both kind of saying that we have never, and I think this is true. I have no reason to not believe what he was saying. I definitely think it's true for me. I've never worked as hard and in as focused a way as I have on this project. And it is hard. It's hard work. Like it's so stupid, but it is like really focusing and trying to make this thing a thing that is
doesn't
viable.
That feel a little bit good on some level? Like,
Yeah. It will feel better if it actually works out. If it doesn't work out, that's kind of what I was saying. Cause I always make a big point of that in the classes I teach is like, these are all the things you can control, but then there's also a million things you can't.
Right.
Among them, luck, being in the right place at the right time. Yeah. Like there's nothing you can do about any of those things.
Somebody selling almost the same idea.
Right. Which definitely happens. So anyway, I was reading a thing this morning because I do feel like there's an element of just in terms of writing stuff. It's like, this is so fucking hard. Why is this so hard? It shouldn't be this hard. If it was good, it would not be this hard.
I don't know if that's
why
true.
Is this so hard? No, I don't know if it's true either, but that's certainly a way that
your brain
one feels sometimes, like this is a signal that this should not be, you should not continue.
Or that I shouldn't be doing it.
No, I'm saying you shouldn't be. Yes, you shouldn't be doing it. No, right. That I should not like put this aside and try something else. Because if it was supposed to work, it would be working better. So anyway, I was reading this thing this morning and I'm going to read it out loud because this is an audio medium.
You're not just going to silently read it. I lost you. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
And you, at the end, you can be like,
I agree. I agree 100%. I'm always complaining about how hard it is to write or how much I suffer when I'm writing. That almost every song I've ever written has been absolute torture. I always think there's nothing there. It's shit. It's no good. It's not coming out. This is garbage. And even if it does come out, I think, what the hell is this anyway? And then I realized that I've been saying that all these years about every session and every song, except for the 10 or so songs the gods give you and that come out of nowhere. That was John Lennon said that. So It's like, okay, yeah, it's a pain in the ass and a struggle, but so is it for
everybody
who are pretty good at some things. And then there was another thing I read because part of the difficulty also, or not difficulty, but one thing I think about as I'm doing this is like, I'm frustrated that I've never done this before, in a sense, that it's taken me this long in my career to get to the point where I'm ready and willing to focus like this. I'm like, this should have been a thing 15 years ago or whatever. So I kept reading this John Lennon thing, and this is the next thing, or not the next thing, but this is one of the things he said. There's a Zen story that Yoko once told me. Yoko was his
she's quite famous.
Paramour. He was his paramour. A king sent his messenger to an artist to request a painting. He paid the artist money, and the artist said, okay, come back. So a year goes by, and the messenger comes back and tells him, the king's waiting for your painting. And the artist says, right, hold on, and whips it off right in front of him and says, here. And the messenger says, what's this? The king paid you $20,000 for this shit and you knock it off in 5 minutes? And the painter replies, yeah, but I spent 10 years thinking about it.
Totally.
So it's all part of the game. You know, it's also funny that in this story about the king and the messenger and the artist, that he's still like, the king paid you $20,000. Like,
what is this shit?
He's like a Guys and Dolls character, you know. He gave you the moolah. Where's the
the scratch? Just because you plant a seed and you don't see anything happening doesn't mean those 15 years weren't productive. Right. Is that what you're saying?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see. Maybe they weren't productive, but if we slingshot right, we'll see.
Well, good luck on landing or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess either way, you're either on Earth or landing on the moon.
But you know, you come back to Earth, you could end up in the ocean. Like, who knows?
Yeah. You know? Well, you want to be in the ocean, I think.
I don't know, do you?
Because you don't want to land on ground. You will smoosh and crash.
I feel like all those ships come down with parachutes. So
yeah, into the water.
Right, but if you have you ever do a belly flop? You know how hard the water is when you hit it? It's like concrete.
Do you know how hard concrete is? It is concrete.
It's about as hard as the water is when you hit it. Yeah. If you have a parachute and it's slow, if you slingshot it right.
Yeah. We
your
definitely
velocity
know what we're talking about.
What's that?
We definitely know what we're talking about.
Right.
We're both experts.
Parting shots, Amber.
Yeah. I think a couple weeks ago I was talking about like quantity time versus quality time with Jeff. And so we've made
QVQ.
Yes. We've made a conscious effort to have like carved out date nights, and they might not, like, geographically they might not be any different than any other night, but intentionally they are, and we're like switching off who is planning.
In charge. Yeah.
And I planned last night, and I'm pretty proud of what I came up with in the theme, so I want to share it here, because on our honeymoon we went to Hawaii, so I had like a Hawaii themed at home date night where we had like a cocktail, like a fruity cocktail.
Nice.
And then we had poke bowls delivered, and we had Hawaiian pop music playing. And then on the big TV, we had YouTube of people surfing. And Jeff put on a Hawaiian shirt. Like, it was fun. It was just fun to be playful. And then we watched Forgetting Sarah Marshall afterwards because it was filmed in Hawaii.
Right. No Hawaii 5-0 ever?
Not ever, no.
It's
still on CBS, or a new one is.
The reboot, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it was fun, and I recommend it to have just sort of like intentional themed time together. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, that's good. Well, first of all, I should say that I always try to make myself throw up before I watch one of the new Hawaii 5-0s because pre-boot makes the reboot.
Oh my God.
But also, did you think at all about...
It's like, where is this going?
Did you think at all about when you're doing this date night, if you keep it... So you're doing this Hawaiian thing. I'm assuming it's getting later and later. And if you don't turn the lights on, just keep it dark for as long as possible. And then very much later on, turn the lights on. Because, it's like I always say, late light makes the date night.
It's like, it's coming. I know we're not there yet. We got gazpacho all over it.
I saw a cool video the other day where, and it had to have been on purpose, but it didn't look like it. It looked like one guy was fucking another guy over. It was a surfing video. And, there's a thing in surfing where you're not supposed to drop in on another guy's wave. Mm-hmm. And so this one guy was surfing and another guy dropped in on him. And so they were right next to each other on the face of the wave. And the first guy who had been dropped in on reached up and started yanking the other guy's surfboard, pulled the surfboard out from under him. That guy fell into the water. The other guy keeps going. He's now holding the other guy's surfboard under his arm.
And he's standing on the
standing
surf.
up. But impressive. Then he kicks off his board and jumps on the other guy's board and surfs the rest of the wave on the other guy's board. So he switched boards in the middle of the wave. And the only thing that made me think that maybe it was, it looked real, but the thing that made me think it was set up is that, as you know, these guys all wear leg leashes, so the board is attached to their ankle, and the board was not attached.
Neither of them had,
right. It was like, they were planning ahead of time to do something like this, but it was still fucking badass. Yeah. It was like, holy shit. And especially think about how long that took, and he was just riding the face of a wave for like 30 seconds doing all this stuff, So anyway, late light makes the day night is the point. Surf and turf. Well, that's not really as good. Folks, this has been The Long Shot.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good desk. Good noon. Is it noon? It's not even noon yet, and we're done. We'll see you next time on The Long Shot.
Bye.
Bye.
That I've ever had to wish for. Now I just hope that I don't starve to death. If I don't get on wheels or nothing, at least I'll get you off my chest. As long as it's not on my spine. Now that you were mine, ba-ba, ba-da-ba, you're mine, ba-ba, ba-da-ba, you're mine, ba-ba. Ba-da-ba in your mind. Ba-da-ba in your mind. Ba-ba. Ba-da-ba in your mind. Ba-da-ba in your mind. Ba-ba. Ba-da-ba in your mind. Ba-da-ba in your mind. Ba-ba. Ba-da-ba in your mind. Ba-ba. Ba-da-ba da-da-da.